Hello and welcome to my channel, and we're gonna start something a bit different. What many of you guys might not know is I actually am an IT guy. Really, I've been working in IT for over 10 years. I'm the technical lead at an MSP, and I thought it'd be good just to basically do a few videos on server setups and those sort of things. Generally, what I've worked with over my time is basically Microsoft Suite stuff. So I thought it'd be good to do a few bits of demonstration on how to set your first home lab up in the Microsoft ecosystem. So what we got here is a fresh build of Windows Server 2025 on a spare server I have. It's a fresh copy, nothing on it. Has a 500 gig SSD, M.2. Yeah, so let's start, shall we? So we're going to start with basically setting up a Hyper-V server. So what this will be used for is basically hosting all your other servers. You can use a non-GUI version if you want to, which uses less resources, but you'd have to PowerShell everything. PowerShell is a great thing to learn, but sometimes it's easier to show something with a GUI. So that's what we'll do. So basically, the first thing you're going to want to do is go to your server manager. This will be exactly the same on basically any version of Windows Server since 2008. So what we're going to do, we're going to add some roles and features. That's going to be our server there. And we're literally just going to add the Hyper-V role. Allow that to do its thing. And it'll go away and do that. Whilst mentioning this, one thing that's useful for your own home lab is just to make sure remote desktop is actually enabled. This would actually be the thing that's done on the physical machine when you're setting it up, which is behind me on there, so you can probably hear the noise. That is that. All you need to do there is press allow there, and it'll automatically set up the firewall rules ready for you to log in. That's not necessarily a particularly secure thing to do because you are opening remote desktop to your network, but considering this is a home lab and hopefully only you have access to it, that is not necessarily a bad thing to have. So we'll just go through all this, just allow the default tick boxes. On this, you don't have to set this up, this can be done afterwards, so I'm not going to set it up right now. We'll do this in the Hyper-V manager. This bit here again, you can set this up later. So basically, with this, the idea would be if you have multiple Hyper-V servers, you would domain join them all, and then you can do live migration between multiple servers, which makes moving servers around very easy. Otherwise, you have to do other methods, and it's more pain. Choose some locations for there. In this case, I've only got one disk on the server for this use case, so I'm just going to create something on the C drive root called Hyper-V there, and I'll also put that in the same location. Config files. There we go. We'll just allow it to restart it itself, and we'll let it go and do that. Okay, so now we're going to create a virtual machine. To do that, once you have installed your Hyper-V role, you can just search Hyper-V down the bottom left, and you will have the Hyper-V manager. Once you go into there, a few things we need to do because we didn't pre-configure it is pre-configure a virtual switch, which is how the virtual machine is going to connect to the rest of your physical network. If you want to have it completely locked down so it can't get outside the network, you would do an internal or private. Basically, just read the description. It does what it says in the tin. I've already pre-created an external network which connects to the network adapter which my server is physically connected to. In this case, we do want to allow the management operating system to share the network adapter because there's only one thing plugged into it. In your network, you might not have that. You might have multiple VLANs and multiple things all being plugged into different systems that you do not want your virtual machines to be able to connect to other things on the network. So it all depends on how you want your network set up and how you want your virtual machine set up and what you would like them to see. Hopefully that makes sense. So, I'll also note you can do virtual IDs down there if you're not going to do physical separate networks. But in my case, I've only got a gigabit switch, gigabit network ports, so it's easy just to have physical separated networks, so there isn't bandwidth limitations. Okay, so let's go for a new virtual machine. It's just going to be a domain controller we're going to build. First thing on our network, really. Give it 8 gig of RAM. Sure, doesn't need a big hard drive, and we're going to install it from an ISO, and I've pre-downloaded the 2025 server ISO, and it'll go away, it'll go do all that. Why did that fail? There we go. Okay, and as soon as we start it, it should say, do you want to boot CD? And the answer is yes, we do. But you have to be quick at it. Okay. Once it boots up, you install it like you would any other Windows machine. I'll very quickly go through it. Select your time and all that sort of stuff. Yes, United Kingdom for me. Yes, I would like to install Windows Server. That sounds lovely. I don't have a product key today. Sure. And we're going to give it a desktop experience. I will accept that. That sounds good to me. That's going to go away and install. So the virtual machine now installed Windows, and it's now asking for product keys and all that sort of stuff. We're just going to say do this later, and then I'm going to set a password if I can get my password to match. There we go. It'll go away and do its own things now probably for about half an hour. Oh no, nice and quick, happy days. Again, helps if you can enter your password correct multiple times in a row. So as this is going to be our domain controller, probably going to be our DHCP server and DNS server, we're probably going to want to set this with a static IP address. So that's what we're going to do. So server 2025 unfortunately has started to have telematics built into it, which we didn't have previously, but there we go. So I am not connected to any networks. That is interesting. Let's turn this machine off and see why. So to modify your current machines, you right-click settings. You can go in there. That one there. Yeah, that looks correct. Okay, maybe it's my adapter's wrong. I reckon I've selected the wrong one. This server does have quite a few network adapters. Let's double check. TNDC number 2. Yes, I did it wrong. That's my fault. There we go. Might get disconnected. Got disconnected. Hopefully it will reconnect myself. Worst case scenario is I do have a monitor and server access just there directly to the server, so I can see what it's doing if it doesn't come back on. Yes. Use that. Okay, it just took a bit longer to reconnect me. That's all it was. Nothing inherently wrong there. Okay, so we're going to start this machine back up. It should now be on the right network, so we can actually configure the static IP ready, and also change the time because that's evidently wrong. Let's do the time first because that's going to drive me batty. Trust date and time. Sure, I'm in the UK. There we go, 4 o'clock. Happy days. Okay, so we're now going to set the time. I'm old school, and I like the old control panel. Let's give it a static IP address. Let me double check what my IP details are. Okay. There we go. 0.200 is going to be the IP. Happy days. Normally I wouldn't recommend setting your network up on the 192.168.1 or .0 range, mainly because if you have VPNs and stuff like that, they're quite often problematic. But this is my house, and I'm not going to set a VPN into it realistically, because I don't really host anything that requires it. And if I do, I can set up other virtual machines on other VLANs which have access to that sort of thing. So that's fine. And we'll set Google for now. We might need to change that in a minute once we've started setting up the domain. Okay, there we go. Still got internet. Happy days. So we're going to go back into... Let's rename the server as well, actually, because that will drive me batty if we use that. That'll do its restart. So once it's restarted, you need to log back in, go back into Server Manager, and then we're going to add roles and features, and then we need to add the Active Directory service. Let's do that now. Time. Just have to wait. Wait a long time. Okay, we can now do that. Right. Yeah, that looks good to me. Active Directory, domain services. Yes, please. There we go. Gonna go through and just accept all these things, and we'll allow automatic restarts. That's fine. So just for general context, generally Active Directory is in quite a lot of cases and businesses redundant at this point, mainly because most people use Office 365 and Entra ID as joined machines, and it's all cloud managed at this point. However, you may find situations where there are still servers on sites, and in these situations it's normally legacy apps that you need to host, and you need this sort of setup still. What you can do as well is if you have cloud, you can have basically a sync between your Active Directory and your 365, and vice versa. So if somebody changes the password in 365, it changes back to the server, on the server back to 365. Same with like groups and stuff like that. Okay, it's finally got to this point. So we're going to want to promote this machine to a server domain controller. this is going to be a new forest because it doesn't exist at all. I'm going to call it the Pricey Net. Why not? And it's going to be a .local, I think. So this is going to be my .local domain. Sure, server 2025 all through. There'll be some limitations to that, so obviously you can't join older servers to that machine. If you wanted to, you know, you could bring the forest level down, and then you can change the functional level there. Right, this password, make sure you note it down just in case you ever need to restore it. Okay, it'll go away, take its time. That all sounds good to me. Yes, this all sounds good. It's now going to go away and check a few things, and it's probably going to tell me there's some slight problems, but you can normally ignore them. Not that you should, but you can. Yeah, there we go. Install. So it's now going to go away, and it's going to go create this, and we'll come back in a minute. So it's finished its stuff, and it's done its auto reboot, and we're now going to log in with our new domain we've set up. So this is now our domain controller. What we're going to do is we're going to quickly go into Active Directory, and we're going to quickly create some other users because it's not generally best practice to be using the default administrator account if possible. Yeah. So to do that, we can just search active down the left, and there'll be Active Directory of user computers, which is the old school way of setting things up, but I am old school. Okay, in here we can create a few new folders, organizational units. It's what they're technically called, but you know, they look like a folder, same thing. It's just way of organizing things. So we're just going to call it the Pricey Net, just to keep it out of the way. And I'm going to create a few little things here just so I can easily organize stuff. Users, servers, and computers. Okay, so we're just going to create myself a user. We're just going to set a password. There we go. And I still can't type a password in twice the same way, apparently. I was going to do that. For this user, we're just going to leave it as a standard user. I'm also going to create myself an admin user as well. For this account, we're going to give it a bunch of administrator roles. Domain admin. So basically this account can do basically absolutely anything you think you would need to do. So generally, if you've got domain admin, you've got schema admin, you can do most things. But because you're domain admin, if you ever find anything that you're missing when you're trying to install some software, it'll tell you you're missing it, and then you can add it to yourself. Easy as that. Okay, so we've now got some users. We can now go away and set up some more stuff. So what we're going to do next is we're going to create a virtual PC that's going to join your domain, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. Okay, we're back, and we have the Windows 11 ISO downloaded, ready. So we're just going to go through this again, and we're going to create another virtual machine. We're just going to call this Pricey Net PC1. Because, sure, why not? We're going to give it 8 gig of RAM again. and we're going to connect to the same network, and it's going to have 80k card drive again. And this time we've got the Windows 11 ISO. Yes, there we go. Okay, let's start that up, and that'll go away and do its thing. Let's reboot it, get it to do that. So this is going to go away. We'll do all the same settings we did last time with the Windows server install. We'll go install that, and then we'll set a local account, and we'll go from there, and we'll join you at the point we need to go from. Just a thing to note, Windows 11 requires TPM, so just go into settings, security, enable it, otherwise it won't install. That's just a quick note on the side there. Okay, so we've got to this point, the Windows install, it's done most of its stuff, and it's rebooted itself. So we're just going to select the languages, and we are going to select the keyboard, and we're not going to select another keyboard, so we don't need that. And it's now going to go away and do updates, and probably take a million years. So I'll come back in a momento. It's rebooted again. Now we're just going to name the PC, and we're going to make it the same as the PC name in Hyper-V. It's then going to do what it needs to do again. Lots of sitting and waiting. Welcome to the world of IT. It's going to reboot itself. Then hopefully it's going to get to the next point where we can create an account, and at that point you want to select a local account, as it's going to be a domain joined machine. So let's see, there we go. So we're going to set up for work or school, and we don't want to set up that, we want to domain join it, so we're going to do that there. And we're just going to create a local admin. This is not recommended security here. This is just getting through stuff quickly. Yes, sure. Hit the enter key a million times, and Microsoft will track absolutely everything you ever do, ever in your life. But I'm not using this machine for anything, so we're probably okay. And now it's going to do updates, and we'll come back to this in a minute. Okay, so now we've got our plain Windows PC ready. One thing we'll need to change before joining the domain is the DNS. Mainly because our network doesn't have DHCP pointing at this DNS server, nor do I really want it for this case. So we're just going to set the DNS to the IP address of the server. We'll set it secondary to Google, why not, just for this use case. Okay, so now we've done that, we should be able to join the domain. You can just search down the bottom, join, yeah, sure, access work or school. To be honest with you, this is how you join Azure, or enter ID. So actually we need to do this PC, properties, and advanced system settings, and then we can join it to a domain here, the pricynet.local, and it should ask you for your username and password, and then at this point you can type in your username and password details that you set up earlier, if you can type in your password correctly. And then it joins, and then once you have rebooted your machine, you are officially domain joined. You can log into your domain account, and it is as easy as that. We'll do another video soon on a different topic. Should be good.